Hey, everybody, you got the Wingman here. Thanks for being with me today. Make sure if you are not getting your notifications here on YouTube, you are not alone. I don't know what's going on, but if you can check right now, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and your notifications are turned to all. This mysterious thing that you hear people talking about, the algorithm, it is always changing, and I try to figure it out, but I'm an old guy and I can't figure it out very good. So coming up, I've got a friend of mine, a new friend, that before I even bring her up, I want to say something. I say all the time that I read every comment, and I try to get back to as many people as possible, and that's the truth. But sometimes I drop the ball, and that is what I did with my guest that you're getting ready to meet. I received an email from this woman a couple of months ago that was so wonderful, and you're going to meet her. She's a full-time RVer. I think you're going to love her, but I didn't respond to her for 2 months. And so with that said, I'm going to bring this woman on right now. So Cathy, Conrad, welcome. Thank you. Thanks for joining me around my virtual campfire.
Hey, Alan, thank you for having me. And no worries. Don't worry. You got back to me in RV time. It's okay.
I am so embarrassed, that folks, Cathy does a podcast, a wonderful podcast about RVing. And let's tell everybody, if you would, about who Cathy Conrad is, what your podcast is about, and then we'll talk about how you and I actually connected.
Okay. So my podcast is called All Things RV Podcast. And it's part RV education, part RV resources, part lifestyle, and just interviewing very interesting people. We all RV for different reasons. And it's just... my goal with the podcast is to provide people with education, resources, help you along. Especially, I think I'm really targeted towards new or aspiring RVers. But it's a lot of fun. I meet a lot of great people. And my main thing is to be of service to RVers.
That's everything to me, is to be of service. And you have... we don't know each other very well. We've talked a little bit, but you have the heart of somebody, like a teacher, and I can feel that. I can sense it. And when you contacted me, and folks, what happened was, I'm talking often about the RV dealers that I work with, the ones that I believe in, the ones that I call the RV Dealers I Trust Network. And I ask for people to, if they know of a good RV dealer, let me know, because I want to expand the map. There are great people out there, and that's what Cathy's email was about. And she told me that she had just finished interviewing these people, and that's how we met. I watched her and listened to her podcast. It's amazing. So a dealer out in, I guess it's Oregon. It was Thompson RV. Talk about that, because, I mean, what good people, Cathy.
Yeah. And that's, as far as my clients go, I want to be able to provide really reliable, trustworthy, ethical referrals. And that includes dealerships. So I am an outdoors RV owner. We have an outdoors RV trailer, and we bought it gently used from an individual and had it inspected. But I also belong to the Outdoors RV Owners RV group, and it's all people who own outdoors RV, and people drive to this dealership from all over the country. I kid you not. They come from the East Coast, everywhere, because of their reputation. So I interviewed Corinne Thompson, who is with Thompson RV. It's a family-owned small business in a small community, Pendleton, Oregon. And they just have an amazing approach. You have to listen to, the podcast I did with her. But I did not purchase from them, but I have read so many comments in the Outdoor RV Owners group about people who drove across the country, who are so happy with their experience with Thompson. They really have the RVs prepared for delivery day. They do a very thorough walkthrough. I mean, it's what anybody would want in an RV dealership. They've got it dialed in. Corinne knows her stuff. She's amazing.
It is so refreshing to hear positive stories about good people, and the good people, great people, they're out there. They just get,
yes,
I think that they get marginalized, or they don't have a big giant American flag out and all the fanfare. They just, the tortoise and the hare, they just plot it, but they're good people and they take care of their customers. And that's what this channel is about. And my gut tells me that that's what you are about, is trying to truly provide service.
I've been following you for years, Alan. So I kind of already know you based on your YouTube channel, and I'm always been really impressed. And I see that we're very much in alignment on a lot of things around RVing. So that's, another reason that I reached out to you to be on my podcast.
And I will be again. I promise. It won't take me too much to get back with you. But so essentially, this is not a money deal, folks. Cathy's not getting. I'm not getting paid. I'm trying to provide some service. You think that somebody like Thompson? You think Thompson RV would be a good dealer to put on the map?
Absolutely, most definitely. I mean, they've been around since 1953. They're a family-owned business. They have to earn people's business. They have to earn it. And they have to take care of people to keep it. And that's exactly what they do. I've met Corinne personally. She's a wonderful person. And they have a lot of people working at their dealership that are related and from the community. It's just very cool. Very cool. And if I ever buy another outdoors RV, which is, I don't know how I ever go back to anything else, it will be from them. Absolutely.
They are a fantastic unit. The outdoors RV is absolutely fantastic. Many people in the Texas and the South Midwest and going to the East Coast haven't heard of them because it's not a big name like a Jayco or a Flagstaff or whatever. But man, it's a good, well-built unit.
It's a very well-built unit. And I interviewed Cal and Jo with Outdoors RV Manufacturing to talk to him about, what are their goals and their vision for their company. And he's like, well, we don't want to make more. We just want to keep improving what we have, so they're also very customer oriented. And
now you're a full-time RVer.
Yes. Yeah. So
I bet you, go ahead.
Yeah. So we bought our outdoors RV in 2019. It was gently used, and we had it inspected. And so we started out, for the first 2 years, our goal was to camp 2 weekends a month and make a couple big trips over the summer. And we did that. And then we decided to sell our house and go full time. And eventually we'll buy another property, when the things come down and hopefully the economy gets better. But and so we haven't killed each other yet. We're living in a 24-foot trailer.
We laugh about it, but I'm telling you, there are a lot of people that think that they want to live full time in an RV, and they're going to kill each other, or they might be divorced. And that brings up you are exploring a concept that I want you to share with my viewers, share with the people around this virtual campfire, because I think there is such a need for what you and I have talked about. So tell everybody what the concept is, why you think it's important, and let's get into that.
Okay. So I think that before we bought our RV, I started researching in 2017. I'm kind of a nerd. I love to learn, right? And I really wanted to, it's a huge investment. I wanted to make an educated decision. I wanted to make sure I knew how to RV and what to expect. And so I set out on this 2-year journey, like researching, digging deep into everything RV. And I really feel in my heart that because of that, going into, plus we took a boot camp from our inspector, which was a lot of fun, and we learned even more. But I think that being an educated consumer really allowed us to have the best experience possible.
And avoid making some huge mistakes.
Oh, yeah. So my goal is to, through, one-on-one consultation with people, meet them where they are in their RV journey and help them navigate that entire process. and help them, save them money, save them time, help them to avoid the big mistakes. Because in our 5 years of RVing, I've seen some pretty scary things that people do. I've seen people really struggle. I've seen them do very expensive damage to their rig. And it was all avoidable, Alan.
Right.
It was all avoidable.
Right.
And I want people to have as good of experience as we have had.
And it can happen if people, the problem, we've talked about this. They don't know what they don't know. None of us know. We don't know what we don't know. And oftentimes when we finally figure it out, it's like, oh my, what did we get ourselves into?
Yeah.
You are trying to help people avoid that. And so hang on just a second. Folks, I have a question for you. If you have ever bought an RV before, or you bought a bunch of them, what is something that you wish you would have known before you bought that RV? What is something that you wish? It could be, I wish I would have bought from a different dealer. I wish I would have bought a different brand. I wish I wouldn't have financed so long. Give me one thing, and what do you think that cost you when you didn't make the right decision? How much money do you think that ended up costing you over time? So once again, Cathy and I are going to continue to talk, but if you bought an RV before, or did you make all the perfect decisions? Hopefully you did. I don't know many people that have. But if you wish that you could do it over, what did you do wrong? And how much did that cost you because you did it wrong? Drop a comment down below if you would. So Cathy, tell me you're not going to do this for free, because I'm telling you, if it's free, ain't nobody going to listen.
Right. And we paid for a boot camp. I've always been huge on learning and education. And you don't go to any university for free. This is really valuable information. I really feel that there's tremendous value in being an educated consumer. Not everybody has 2 years to research or wants to research for 2 years before they buy a rig. So, I compact all that, meet people where they are, and get them through the process.
Whether they are a couple or somebody, a solo, a woman that wants to go full-time or part-time. Let me I give lots of analogies. I'm pretty good at interrupting. I did something like this when I was in my TV days, when I did a TV outdoor program. And I had a ranch in Texas. And I didn't do this with a lot of people, but people paid me, I'm just going to say, $3,500 to come down and stay with me for 3 days. They'd sleep, we have meals together. They shadowed me for 3 days. These were people that were in the TV business or wanting to get in the outdoor TV business, that wanted to climb inside my head and find out the truth. Because it's not about shooting a big deer or catching a bunch of fish. That ain't what it's about. And this fast-tracked them, and they were willing to pay money for it. And some of them, you know what? I don't want to get in that business. And some of them have made it pretty big in the business, but every single one of them said, I thought it was expensive going in, but man, it saved me a lot of money. So I hope that what your concept is, what are you thinking about? Phone calls, an online course, or how do you think about doing it?
Really what I want to do, because when I did my research and I watched, binge watched YouTube and researched on the internet, but there was nobody I could ask a question of. So my goal really is to work with people one-on-one or couples, over Zoom, because I want to connect with you as a person. That's really important to me. And, do like weekly hour-and-a-half sessions. And
having them tailored and customized, because as you were saying, that everybody gets into RVing for kind of a different reason. We have different pain tolerances and different health situations. And I think that having a coach, a counselor, whatever it is, could be so helpful if somebody would just go, you know what? Because there's a lot of places where you can screw up and spend tons of money and waste it. Like you said, avoidable. Give me some examples for somebody that's out there. I'll stop talking, but what are some places, some ways people get taken advantage of, if you will?
Well, one, it's really important to research and which type of rig is going to be the best one for you, your style of camping. If you want to go off-road and boondocking, that's going to be a totally different rig than what, if you're going to live full-time and need lots of storage space, right? So if you buy the wrong rig the first time, and I know somebody who did that and they turned around, 2 months later and they paid 32 for a travel trailer and they would only give them, they went back to a dealership, only would give them 25 on their trade-in. So they took a huge hit there, and now they have a payment because they had to pay cash.
And it could have been avoidable.
Absolutely. But if you haven't lived full-time or traveled full-time, you may not know what's the best choice. Maybe they don't think about, they need more storage, they need a little more space, they need, we don't know what we don't know. And if you've never RV'd, you don't know what it's like. It's not that you did anything bad. It's just, you don't know.
And you go into a dealership and it's intoxicating.
Yes.
You fall in love with the dream.
Yes.
And you want to trust that the salesperson has your best interest at heart. But most of the time, that's not the case.
Well, and that's where it's as important to research your dealership as it is to research the brand and the type. And the other option is to buy from an individual. There's lots of options out there, lots of them. And that's part of the problem is if you don't know all the options, maybe you didn't pick the one that was best for you unknowingly, right?
I think that we talk about junk food. I am using an analogy, a metaphor. I think that junk food is so easy to consume, like binge watching on YouTube. Yeah. And it's easy to go down that rabbit hole and endless possibilities of how to do this. And let's go to here and there and everywhere. And most people are not going to want a Cathy Conrad to give them the honest advice to sit down because it takes time. You're talking about a multi-week, 8-week course to hold their hand, metaphorically speaking, to help them listen to them. Because, are you traveling with pets? You're going to be full time. Are you going to work while you're doing it? Are you fully retired? There's so many questions, and you can help people.
Yes. Navigate that. Help them, guide them through asking themselves the right questions to make the right decisions that's going to make their experience the best it can be.
Give me another example of what you've heard. I know you're around campers all the time, other RVers, where they say, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known what. Yeah. That would have saved me a lot of.
Like, for example, one day I'm, outside my RV and I'm aware of my surroundings all the time. And I see this beautiful DRV mobile suites coming in, huge fifth wheel. And this is an older RV park that doesn't have the angled, sights.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You have to swing way around. And I kind of look, I'm like, man, it's kind of big for that site. And I go on about what I'm doing. And all of a sudden I see hear this horrible crunch. And I look up and the passenger sitting in the seat, the driver sitting in the driver's seat, and they had tried to pull through and the passenger side front cap came into contact with the tree.
Oh.
And they sat there and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how come the passenger wasn't spotting the driver?
Yeah.
Totally avoidable, because when you're in the driver's seat, I tow, you can't see up there. So you need somebody outside to watch all the way around, high and low, to make sure you have clearance on everything. Plus, even though a spot is long enough to fit your rig, do you have the maneuverability to get it in there? If you're driving a long bed dually and you have a 43-foot trailer, you need a lot of maneuvering space. So to get out before you try to park, assess the situation, and then have a spotter, have a good communication strategy, and you're good.
And so many people, they get a 43-foot fifth wheel, or they get something, and they've never RV'd before, and they think, oh, there's no problem in doing this. Oh, yes, there is. You just don't know it yet. Yeah. Practice. Go to a big parking lot, a parking lot, and practice. Get some cones, get some little solo cups and put them out and try to and improve your skills. It can save you tons of money.
Oh, yeah. And that's what my husband took me out to a big parking lot. He did exactly that and taught me how to, and we went out there with the cones and did all that. And I felt so much more comfortable after that, you know, and it's like, it's so much nicer to hit the road, relaxed, having an idea what you're doing, what to expect, what can happen, how do you handle it, and that sort of thing makes it better. It's never going to go perfect, right? Things are going to happen, but if you know how to prevent, first of all, or deal with when something does happen, what do you do? You know,
it's sort of like, again, look for analogies. A lot of people, they fall in love and then they get married and they find out soon thereafter that it's not the same way after you get married as it was when you were dating. And that's why so many marriages fail, is because it's just because you didn't know well enough. It wasn't a good fit. But when the emotions were so high and so hot and fiery, you couldn't think straight. And what you're talking about creating is something to hopefully help avoid those mistakes, those marital mistakes, if you will, because you're kind of married to your RV, especially if you buy a new one, you got a 15 or a 20-year note on it. And if you don't charge money, I'm going to give you another one. If the reason I think you need to charge money for this is that if I had a $400 bottle of wine and I said, here you go, here you can have this wine, but you didn't know what it was. You didn't know it was a $400 bottle of wine. You probably go, But if I said, here's a $400 bottle of wine and it's free, there you go, you would probably say, free? What's wrong with it? Must be spoiled. Must be something wrong with it.
Yeah.
But if I said, this is a $400 bottle of wine, and you will never drink another sip of wine from any other winery than this after you take a sip. Now you might want to do it and you'll be invested in it. So if you give away your class, you give away your wisdom. Like when I was at the ranch and I said, well, I'm all over the place. So this, that, and that's why having a mentor, someone that's done it, that has a helping heart, that can tell you the truth, and you don't get a commission. I don't know if you're working with Thompson RV or not, but I'll bet you don't get a commission. I don't get a commission from a dealer. I just truly want to help people. So
yeah. It's difficult. That was a painful thing to see and to hear, that those are expensive rigs, right?
The DRV
mobile suites. And so they sat in there for a while. They're probably in shock, and they got out, and then they backed up, you know, and then that whole corner popped out. There was this gaping hole in the front of their rig. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's going to cost a lot of money.
Not only a lot of money, but if they're full timers, they ain't going to be living in it when the work's being done. So you know, that's another expense that they're going to have to, endure. So anyway, so what's in the future besides you're trying to create these classes? And let me tell you something, young lady, I'm going to try and help. I don't know what we can do, but I know there is a market, maybe a small market, shouldn't be. But there are people out there that are smart enough to go, you know what? I'm willing to write a check to learn so I don't get taken advantage of by a dealer, so.
Yeah, buying strategy. People need to go in with a buying strategy. Don't go in there with your emotions. You know what I mean? Keep a level head, because I made a mistake. Maybe, I don't know if you want me to share it.
Do it.
But I made a mistake. So when we were looking, I was early on my research, right? Not at all ready to buy. Right. Not at all ready to buy. And we were driving, it was near my work, and I'm like, hey, we haven't checked out this dealership. Let's go check it out. And we went in there, and there was one on sale, in the front lot. And great floor plan, opposing sides, very open, all these things, right? All the glittery things.
Yeah.
Right? But let me preface, I never make a big purchase without having a discussion with my husband and sleeping on it for at least one night, if not longer. And I'm very stern about that, right? So we go in there, I'm looking at this, and we really liked it and whatever. I'm like, hey, let's go look in the back, but the salesman was with us every step of the way, right? And I'm used to going to RV shows where, they don't pay any attention to you. They let you walk through everything and look at it and whatever. And if you want something, generally my experience was not a lot of hard sell stuff at an RV show, maybe a little bit, but there's so many people there, right? It's very easy to go in and out unnoticed and look around. And so, but this guy was with this like every step of the way and just da, 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 da. And I'm an introvert, right? So and my other mistake is I went in there tired and hungry. Bad mistake, right? Already tired. I was hungry. And this guy just wore me down, chatting away. And before I knew it, Alan, we're sitting in the finance office. And we're talking about the rig out in the front. And we signed papers.
Oh my gosh.
And we got home. I wasn't excited. It was like I'm sitting in that chair. It was like I was standing behind myself. I mean, that was not me in that chair. I just don't do that. And so I'm like, not even excited. We get home. I don't even tell anybody. I'm like, what the hell did I just do? What did I just do? I don't do that. I sleep on it. And so the next morning I called and talked to the manager. I'm like,
we're out.
I'm not doing it. But if it can happen to me, who's very staunch about never making a big purchase without sleeping on it, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah. And there's so many tricks. A great RV dealer, everybody wants to make a sale, but they don't use the tactics. And some of these big dealerships, I mean, you experienced it. Yeah. They're shadowing you. They're stuck to you like a piece of tape, I say. And they know how to push the emotional buttons. You have grandchildren, will they be camping with you? And they push that button.
18 summers, that's all you have with your kids.
Time is wasted, and that's true, but it doesn't mean you got to go sign the damn paperwork. And so it's this coaching concept, I believe, is a good one. Yeah. It's not going to be something for the person that knows it all, because everybody thinks they know it all, and they do. They know everything they know. It's for the purpose.
That's eager to learn. It's like me. I was so excited to take that boot camp from my inspector because I'm eager to learn. And I want to protect my investment. I want to do it right so I don't screw anything up. But so that was my embarrassing story. That's like my most embarrassing story. So, but I wanted to share it because, it's easy to make mistakes. You have to really be present and stick to your guns.
Well, and that's why I asked, earlier in the video, I asked people, what do you wish you could, had a do-over? I wouldn't have bought the extended service protection plan. I wouldn't have, I don't, whatever it is, I want to hear what people, if they could turn the clock back, what do they wish they could have done differently, and how much would that have saved them? That would be, I think, don't you think that'd be interesting for you to see?
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because, we all make different mistakes, right? Not everybody makes this, and it's like to hear what did you wish you knew? Yeah. If you could go back, what would you change, No, I think it's good.
Well, that's why a good coach, an honest, sincere coach, I think, like you, and you, the other thing is, you told me, you said, hey, Alan, I don't know everything. I'm still learning. And that is a wonderful place to be, because it's honest and humble. And I got to tell you, you said you're an introvert. If I'm going to try to help you not be so much of an introvert, because people need the wisdom and knowledge that you have. Y'all made a terrific decision, I think, buying that unit you've got, the Outdoors RV. And I can't believe how you sound great. A lot of RVs, when I do interviews, you can hear this bad. That's a cheap microphone, and those things are well insulated, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We don't hear much of anything from outside yet.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, so once again, the name of your podcast, and we're going to wrap this thing up, and then you and I we're going to talk a little bit.
Okay. So my company name is RV Advisors, LLC, and my podcast is All Things RV Podcast, and it's on Spotify, Apple, Castbox, iHeartRadio, and my podcast cover is a bright turquoise color, so it's really easy to spot, with my logo on it. It's super easy to find.
And rumor has it you're going to have some guy they call the wingman as a guest on your show.
Yes, I hope so.
Well, thank you for joining me. I think you've got a terrific idea, and I hope that this is the beginning of more conversations that we have.
I do too, Alan. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been my pleasure.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed my visit with Cathy Conrad and that you'll check out her podcast. Again, it's called All Things RV. I think it is on pretty much every platform out there. And if you have not yet commented, Cathy and I would both welcome your input. If you had a do-over on buying your RV, especially your first RV, what would you do over? And how much did your mistake end up costing you? I hope you'll be honest now, because I know that many, if not most folks, have spent money needlessly with something that could have been avoided when buying their RV. We would just like to hear from you and what you think that your mistake was and how much it cost you. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn those notifications to all. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman, encouraging you to be the most informed, the most honest, the most helpful wingman or wingwoman possible, helpful to others. I'll see you in the next video.